Yo, what is going on, Bitcoin? Happy 100K. What a time to be alive. And boy, do I have a 100K gift for you on behalf of Strike. We just launched Bill Pay to all of our US customers. You can now pay all of your bills with Strike. You can now pay all of your bills with Bitcoin, enabling a life with more Bitcoin and less or no fiat at all. I know on a day like today, you're like, man, my eyes are deceiving me. Is this real? I can't wipe the smile off my face. It's true. And listen, anyone in the United States, you can get a Strike account and you can pay your bills with Bitcoin. This feature costs $0. You don't need to apply to anything new. You don't need to pay any money. All you got to do is update your app and start paying your bills with Strike. Listen, I collect these tweets. You guys know I do. I love the relationship that I have with the community. I love the feedback and the requests that we get from you all. We deeply, deeply appreciate it. And I know for a while, you all have wanted this feature, and I'm so excited to give it to you. You said, Jack, I want to ditch my legacy financial institution. I want to use Strike. Or Jack, I want Bitcoin more as a cornerstone in my financial life. I want less fiat. If you could just allow me to pay my bills, it would take my financial life and my quality of life to the next level. So we heard you loud and clear, and today is that day. Now, most of you know, but in case you don't, I pride myself as an individual and Strike as a company on trying to be one of the most transparent and customer-focused companies in the world, not even just within Bitcoin, in the world. And so every time we announce something like this and we build something for our customers, I put together a presentation and I record myself walking through it just to explain our intent, why we built this, why we think it's useful, and then also to make myself accessible for any feedback, for any questions, for any future requests for myself and the company. So without further ado, we're going to walk through why we built this feature, why we think it's so powerful, and what problem it solves that we think every single American has. We ready? Let's go. Here's the main question, is I asked myself not too long ago, and what we started asking our customers, what we started asking everyday Americans that aren't even in Bitcoin is, how do I live a life without inflation? Because listen, the reality is whether you're in Nigeria and Africa, whether you're in Australia, whether you're in Manhattan in New York, everyone right now is facing inflation, is facing currency debasement, is facing living a life that gets more expensive for them every single day, no matter how hard they're working. And I myself sat back and asked, how can I live a life without inflation? And can I build software and products and tools to enable others to live a life without inflation? So first, to better understand the problem, we have to understand the dollar and fiat currencies at large. The reality is inflation is caused because the dollar has just gone down over time. Over the last 100 years, the dollar has done nothing really but just go down in value. Now, this isn't generally unknown, but it's super important to appreciate and realize. Another way of putting this is in purchasing power. So this is maybe a more direct graphic, which is how much can my dollar get? How much can my dollar purchase me in goods and services? And all it's done over time is just go down. And that's because you can print as many as you want and it can be debased. Now, another way of putting this is inflation. Is the purchasing power just goes down over time or inflation just goes up over time, but they're the same thing. So you can use them interchangeably. When people say inflation is up, another way of saying that is the dollar is down. The dollar is getting you less stuff. It's less purchasing power. It's going down in value. And that is the core issue and the core problem. And the reason people's lives are getting more expensive every day, every week, every month, every year is because the dollar is getting less valuable every day, every week, every month, every year. And that is the issue that everyone is facing. Now, this graphic might hit hard, but it's true. What we're looking at is in yellow and blue is the median house price in New York and in Boston, two major cities in the United States of America. Now, in red and in gray is the median household income in those same cities, New York and Boston. And the point is to illustrate everything in our life is going up in price by a lot. Look at those yellow and blue lines. So this is housing inflation. But we're not getting paid more. And that's where it feels painful, is it feels like we're having to work harder. We're having to take on two jobs. We're having to work longer just to try and stay afloat and get the same stuff that we had 10 years ago. And this graphic shows exactly that, is people are getting paid around the same, but the price of housing is going up drastically, which we describe as inflation. Another way to think about it is how long does it take for someone to save up for a house? In 1970, it was about 2.5 years. In 2020, it was 7 years. And this is before COVID and all the inflation that we faced over the last 4 years, which we know in the United States of America was record levels of inflation. So who knows? Maybe this number is 10 years or 20 years at this point. But this is 3x, 4x, 5x, 10x the amount of time that people have to work just to get the same house. And this is the problem. It's living a life that gets more expensive no matter how hard you work. How can we solve that problem? Now, when I was asking myself this question, obviously, I'm reminded that Bitcoin is the opposite of the dollar, actually. If the dollar only goes down over time because people can print more of it and debase it, Bitcoin has only gone up over time because no one can print more of it and no one can debase it. And so if you take the housing idea and you say, well, hold on a second, let's do the same housing inflation exercise, but let's do it in Bitcoin, you realize that housing in Bitcoin actually gets cheaper over time. The price of a house goes down. Maybe the price of a house was 1,000 Bitcoin in 2016, but now it's a couple Bitcoin to get the average American home in all of these major cities. And so it works reversely, right? This graphic is very simple. If you save and operate in US dollars, well, your life is going to get more expensive because the value of those dollars is going to go down. You're going to face inflation. If you operate in Bitcoin, the value of those will go up, and the price of everything in your life, conversely, will go down and get cheaper over time. Another way to think about it is Bitcoin like a savings account. So I took Wells Fargo, Chase, Bank of America, and if you were to open a savings account there, where you collect, interest payments and they pay you to save, you're talking about getting $5, $15, $25 over the last 1, 3, and 5 years on a $50,000 savings account. Now, if you were to live on Strike and on Bitcoin with the same amount of money, you're talking about getting $69,000, $34,000, $600,000 in purchasing power, in price appreciation. Talking about a high yield savings account is a way to think of it, up 140%, 69.5%, and over 1,200%, right? So the question I asked myself in first principles thinking was, wait a second, why would I own any of the money that only goes down, which is the dollar? If you think of it that way and not like, well, I have to go to the grocery store, how am I going to pay for these things? And just think, well, the dollar only goes down. The dollar only gives me inflation. The dollar only makes my life more expensive. Why do I own any of it? It's a good question. And then the second question is, why not only own the money that just goes up, right? If I could, why don't I just own Bitcoin? Obviously it can be volatile at times, but with time, it just goes up and is a great way to save and make my life cheaper the more I work and the more I save. So earlier this year, I did exactly that. I got rid of all my dollars. I went all in on Bitcoin, and I really pledged to myself that I was going to figure this out. I was going to solve this for myself and figure it out and build the software to give it to everybody else. So I was not only going to solve my own problem, but I was going to solve everyone in America's problem, which was, how can you have a financial account that's resistant to inflation, that cannot be debased, that makes your life cheaper the more you live and the more you work and the more you save, not more expensive. So I tweeted this out earlier, way earlier in the year. This is on January 3rd. So New year, new me. I got rid of all my dollars. And the media even picked this up, right? And was like, whoa, this guy got rid of all of his dollars. Supposedly he lives on Bitcoin. How is that even possible? Is he lying? Is this real? And so therein lies why we built this product, how we built this product. This product was initially built for me to not only solve my own problem, but to share with the whole country of figuring out inflation and escaping dollar debasement. So how do I use Strike to live on Bitcoin, including our bill pay feature? Here's the 3 breakdowns. 1, I need to be able to receive money, right? 2, I need to be able to pay for things. How do I go to the grocery store? How do I pay rent, right? Whatever that expense is to you. And then 3, what about taxes? Doesn't this complicate taxes? Doesn't taxes make this infeasible? No, that's not the case, but let's walk through it. First, receive. How do I get a paycheck? So in Strike, you can get your direct deposit, you can get your paycheck in Strike and 100% in Bitcoin. So you can go in Strike, set up your direct deposit, my paycheck, I get 100% of my paycheck into Strike, 100% of my paycheck is in Bitcoin, and I have no dollars in Strike, I have no dollars to my name, and I get paid in Bitcoin. If you go in the app, you have an account and routing number, you can create a direct deposit form, you can set this all up, it takes 30 seconds, and that's step 1. Step 2, and this is where bill pay comes in, is how do I pay for things? And the question really is, am I living on gift cards? Am I only shopping at the grocery store and the coffee shop that's 30 miles away but accepts Bitcoin because they follow me on Twitter? No, not at all. What I do is I keep spending the money that loses value. What do I mean? I just use credit cards. So the credit card is a very good product. I spend on credit, so I get to spend dollars without ever having to own them. I get 1 to 5% cash back. These are the cards I use. I get 1 to 5% unlimited cash back on everything I spend. So I'm getting free Napa Valley wine. I'm getting free flights. I'm getting concert tickets. I'm getting cash back. I'm getting all these amazing rewards for spending on these cards, and I don't have to change my lifestyle. So no, I'm not traveling extra miles to go to the Bitcoin coffee shop. No, I'm not living on gift cards. I'm using my Amex. I'm using Chase. I'm using Fidelity. I'm using Apple. And I get to spend and do whatever I want. So these are some of the cards that I use. And I also wanted to touch on quickly, we get a lot of requests from you all, and I want to hear your feedback on this. Build a card, build a card, build a card. When we looked into it, we realized, these companies are giving 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%, 6% cash back. Those are great deals, great offers. We're not going to be able to beat that. We're not going to be able to launch a prepaid debit card and give you more rewards than them, give you more wine than them, give you more access to fancy lounges and airports than them. And nor did we think that was our job. What you want from us is Bitcoin financial services. We're a Bitcoin company. What we do that these businesses can't is Bitcoin. And so the decision I made is I'm going to keep using these cards. I don't want a Strike card that's not giving me as much rewards and that has different limits and that's partnered with a smaller bank. I don't want that. Personally, I don't want that. We talked to our customers and our beta testers and they didn't want that either. And so we made the decision of these cards are great. Credit cards are cool. Credit cards are going to give you more rewards. All of our customers seemingly have cards. So keep spending on the cards. And so this was one a Bitcoiner shared with me, like a Fidelity one. It's super easy and eligible. Pretty much anyone can get one of these. And it's 2% cash back, unlimited on literally everything you swipe. So you really can't beat that. That's a lot of free sats for just living your life, right? Now, the trick is to pay your credit card bill with Bitcoin, right? This is where bill pay comes in. So now with this product launch, your same account and routing number that you have in Strike and can get your paycheck to, you can now set to pay bills with in Bitcoin. So how do I live my life? I spend on credit cards. I have whatever it is, mortgage, HOA, electricity bill, whatever that is in my life, and I just attach my Strike account to those accounts. So I'm paying my Amex or my Apple card or my Fidelity card with Strike from my Bitcoin. And this allows me to own $0 whatsoever. I only own Bitcoin. And in that way, my paychecks come in Bitcoin. I pay my bills with my Bitcoin. And that is beautiful. Bitcoin's been up over 100% since I started this, which means my life has gotten half off since I started living on Bitcoin, right? If you think inflation, deflation, everything around me is half off, 50%. whatever house I want to buy, whatever college tuition my future son or daughter wants to go to, my grocery bill, gas, everything. It's been amazing, and it has solved inflation for me, and it has solved the problem of life getting more expensive to life getting more affordable every single day. Now, 3, taxes. Before I cut this, how do my taxes look? How does Strike help out here? Let me get into it here. Guys, Strike does everything. Everything. So, when I thought about this problem, and I've been doing it myself for a long time, I went to the team and said, we have to solve this with software. We're not going to make people do all these taxes themselves. We have to automate it, and we have to issue everyone 1099-Bs that they can give to their accountant or their tax software so that it's boom, filed and finished just as if it was before Bitcoin was ever invented. And that's what we did. So when you go in your profile in Strike and you go to your account, you'll find documents and you'll find taxes. And Strike is going to account and calculate all of this for you. It's really just as easy as if Strike and Bitcoin never existed in the first place. And the last thing I'll say on taxes is people fear a capital gain, but a capital gain means you avoided the real tax, which is inflation, currency debasement, the dollar going down. What's the difference? The dollar going down or Bitcoin going up? And so, of course, Bitcoin's going to go up, and you're going to have capital gains when living a life with more Bitcoin, but it's a good thing. That means you avoided dollar debasement. That means you avoided inflation. And we've built the software to make it super easy. Issue all the documents. You can get your monthly statements. Whatever you need is all automated in the Strike app. And so this is how I've personally been living my life. It's been almost a year now of no dollars, strictly Bitcoin, and my life has gotten half off ever since. So I have one more thing I wanted to share with you guys is the team and I put together a little spreadsheet just to show you the numbers because I don't want anyone to believe me, and I want this message to spread no matter the personal preferences or opinions on Bitcoin and the dollar. And so this is just data. This is just math. What this is you can input your own numbers. There's $5,000 biweekly paycheck, assuming that you have $6,000 worth of bills and expenses every single month. Input the taxes and wherever you live and start date and end date. And what we've realized is that if you did nothing and just sat in dollars, you would have gotten debased. You would have seen inflation. If you put it in like a high yield savings account, which is 3.9%, you're getting high yield savings on your dollars. It would have been better, but marginally. If you would have lived a life on Bitcoin and Strike like me, well, life got close to half off, like I said, right? And so this is an Excel sheet. We're going to build this into a website. I'm also more than happy to open source this and share it to the public, but just so that you can see the data, this is real. And let me show you guys something. So if you take your monthly bills from $6,000 a month to $3,000 a month, you can see, wow, look at that number jump. And what this says to me is increasing your time preference, valuing saving. What if saving actually rewarded you, got you more stuff, got you more housing, got you more groceries, got you more cars, more vacations, more electricity, more energy, more heat, more AC, right? And so this is a financial account that's resistant to inflation, that makes your life better every single day just by working and by saving, and incentivizes you to think in value of your future for the first time in a very, very, very long time. So with that, I will end this presentation. I've also recorded a 10-minute tutorial walkthrough of how my Strike account is set up and how I use it. It's super detailed, how my paychecks come in, how I pay my bills. I go and pay a credit card bill with Strike just as an example, and I show you exactly where the tax forms are and how it all works. So I will link that on my Twitter. I'll put it on my YouTube. But ladies and gentlemen, we're solving for currency debasement, for inflation, for theft from our future. Everyone in the world has this problem, and part of our job at Strike is using software and using Bitcoin to solve these things for you. So thank you for being patient with us. Thank you for the feedback and for the requests and for being part of building this product. I have never been more excited to launch a product. This is a product I use every single day, and it has done wonders for me, and I cannot wait for our customers to get their hands on it. So as always, much love, We deeply appreciate you. We would not be here without our customers. And I will see you all in the customer support tickets and the threads on the internet. Peace.